All right, can I have your attention, please? All right, now it's time to call the order for the Public Safety Committee meeting, today being Monday, September 15th at 6:31. Can we start with a roll call, please?
Yes, sir, we can. Alderman Newsom,
Present.
Alderman Florian,
Present.
Alderman Guzman,
Present.
Alderman Donenworth,
Present.
Chair Alderman Martinez.
Present. I now need a first and second motion to approve the minutes for the Public Safety Committee that was held on March 4th, 2019.
So
Can I-
move.
All in favor?
So move. Motion.
Second.
You need
All
a
right.
second?
Roll call, please.
Second by
Oh, sure.
Donovan. Motion by Alderman Newsom, second by Alderman Donenworth.
All right,
All those in
Roll call.
favor?
aye.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Oh, I'm sorry, okay, I'll close this. Okay, roll call, all
Motion
right.
carried.
Roll call, okay, are there any public comments? Okay, so let's start with the old business. There is no old business. So new business, discussion, presentation concerning the potential location for the new police facility. Waukegan Chief Police Edgar Navarro, please.
So we have a presentation today on a potential new site for the Waukegan Police Department being presented by Commander Frank Lopez.
Good evening. So we're going to go over the locations that we have looked at for the new police department and our recommendation for which spot we should go with. First off, I want to, next.
Can't hear it.
Yeah, there we go. All right, so about a year and a half ago, we went under contract with FGMA Architects, if everyone remembers, for a space needs study, conceptual drawings of the new police department, environmental study of our current police department and a new facility, and a topographical survey. So currently, right now, we've gone through the space needs study. They provided us a what we would need for our department size. So at that point, we still are under contract, and in order to move on to the next phase, which is the drawings, we need to decide on a location for the new PD. So the lot requirements that FGM gave us for a two-story police department is 5.3 acres. For a three-story police department, 4.7 acres, and for a four-story police department, 4.5 acres. They recommended that a two-story police department would be the ideal for a department our size for the current where police departments are going to these days for a current modern police department. We looked at a couple of different police departments. They provided a number of police departments that they've made in this general area. I think he's switching around on me. Conventional police department design, you all can read that. It's gone more towards the mental health of the police officers plus community involvement. So you want a police department that's going to be open to the public, is welcoming to the public, while still maintaining what we need as a functional police department.
Safety.
Next slide. There we go. So we visited St. Charles Police Department. As you can see from this actual police department, it's incorporated into the neighborhood. This actual police department was built on the site for a strip mall, and around this police department are residents. So next slide. Mount Prospect was in a warehouse, but the most important thing that you can take away from these is it doesn't look like your average old-school police department. They try to incorporate the architecture from the surrounding area so that the police department blends in with the neighborhood, making it more inviting for a community. Next slide. You have a police department from Wisconsin. I'm not going to try and pronounce that name. Roanoke Police Department, next. And Skokie Police Department. They were also built with a warehouse. I actually went into this police department, and it's very welcoming, and the officer well-being in this police department is outstanding. Next. And Elgin Police Department. They took the surrounding buildings. All of them are brick, so it looks very, very nice. Next. So some of our past potential sites that we looked at with assistance from Noel is Grand and Genesee. Without the Masonic Temple, we had opportunity, but this site is very, very small. There is no way that we would be able to get the police department onto this site. It would have been multiple layers. Same with if we included the Masonic Temple. Next. Green Bay and West Waukee, so it's right across the street from the Ramada. We don't know if this site was for sale. It was a potential site, and we don't know about the flood mitigation in that area, so it would have been very, very expensive if we had to drain that entire area. Next slide. Lakewood and Brookside is right behind the old DCFS building. We know for a fact that this site is very prone to flooding, so it would have taken a lot to build on this site. Old Coleman Cable. This site is very large. It would have been adequate for our building, but we don't know. We were not able to get inside to see what the actual inside looked like. This is a warehouse, and it's far south side, so 11th Street, the Tobin Court area. Next slide. This is the carriage auto body off of Gulf Road. So this is a very, very small site, and there's two ways out of this location and only access to the main street on Gulf Road. So, NOSCO, we looked at this site. It would cost a lot to renovate the actual facility, and it's unknown what environmental issues we would have with that site. It's also very small, and it is landlocked. We wouldn't, the only egress area would be on the Sheridan Road, and it's right in the middle of a neighborhood. So our recommended site is the old Ramada site. It's been leveled. Next slide. So the lot size is 5.8. That would give us the necessary land space to put our police department, plus give us almost an acre on the other side where we could potentially expand. And this offers us the ability for indoor parking for all of our municipal vehicles, plus outdoor parking for visitors and secure parking for our personal vehicles. We'd be able to move all of our vehicles to this site. This would be a 2-story police department, so the ideal size of the police department. This is also located close to Washington and Green Bay, which gives us very quick response times to anywhere in the city. It's almost centrally located, where it's 3 to 4 miles from any area that we would need to go to within the city. The only downsides to this location is the traffic on Green Bay Road. So we may have to install a traffic standard, so the traffic control device. we would be separated from from City Hall, but we would maintain a separate records department like we do right now on the first floor of the City Hall. Okay, next slide. And that's all.
Yes, questions? Alderman Florian?
Thank you, Chair. That was a great presentation. Thank you. I just have a couple questions. You kind of mentioned my first question, but I want to clarify, because in one of the first ones where you're saying this won't work, it was right across the street from this location, and you said the problem was Green Bay Road. I worry there's a curve kind of there, and the speed limit is what, 45 along there?
I believe it's 35.
Well, people probably go 45.
Yes.
So that would be one concern I would have about that location is this fact that it's 4 lanes, lots of, high-speed cars going by. You did mention it's big enough. I'm curious, is it big enough to store, and I don't know what you call them, the vehicles you guys keep out at Public Works all the time that are like impounded or evidence, or I don't know what the technical term is, but would you have room to store those on your own property then?
No, those vehicles are in long-term storage until we can release those either to the owners or get rid of those. So those would still be maintained out at the Armory site, which we...
But don't you have some at Public Works as well?
Yes, we do, but those ones, I want to say, will be either released or junked.
Okay. I'm just trying to help those guys out because they got, right, Chris?
Most of the vehicles that we keep for evidentiary purposes are stored at the Armory so that we can have them in a secured garage.
Okay.
And then to the question about Green Bay, the nice thing is that we could make an exit on the West Waukee, which gives us egress points directly to Green Bay or to Washington where we can come around.
Right, but there's a car wash there, there's apartments there, there's some other, have we talked a price yet I know,
No, ma'am, we are
Okay.
not,
Okay.
we don't have those numbers yet.
thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Alderman Guzman?
Green Bay Road, have you ever, I don't remember if I've ever seen a police station on the main artery of a city,
Yes, sir.
especially on a state road.
Yes, sir. So if you look at St. Charles Police Department, it's on Rand Road and Route 64.
12 and 64,
Yes, sir.
right? So for this to work out, you're looking at, probably adding a stoplight or something there. Is that what you're thinking about as a traffic control device?
Yes, sir.
And how would IDOT approve the, in between Washington, then you got another one in the middle, and then you got 120?
We would have to work with IDOT on that. We've worked with them to install our flock cameras, and we would need to talk with them about permitting and whatever they would need to grant us access to install that light. If not, then we would make our main egress point off onto West Waukee, where we can then get to either Washington or Green Bay, to the existing lights.
And I thought there was another place that was suggested on 120.
On 120,
Yeah.
that portion has been purchased by the Lake County Forest Preserve.
But I thought another portion could be taken and then ask the owner to see if he wanted to sell the other portion so it could fit.
If you're speaking of the land that's next to Belvedere Mall,
Yes.
that land right there, once you take away from the portion that the Lake County Forest Preserve took, is I believe, 3.8 acres, so it's not
Oh, it's not big enough.
large enough. Yes, sir.
But, well, obviously you haven't inquired to take even more, ask if he would want to sell even more of that other partial.
The Forest Preserve is
No,
already...
they don't, once they buy, they don't sell. I'm talking about eastbound. Take more of them all. I'm sorry, not take, I mean, buy, buy.
Yes, sir, I don't know if that portion is for sale or not.
And those are the only spots that, I just don't know about Green Bay Road. I thought there was, like flooding zones back there, or
That was the
are they
area
flooded,
behind.
or fill-in, I think that's what it's called over there, isn't it? In the back?
Off of Green Bay Road.
Yes.
So the Ramada location, it has apartments on the north and apartments on the west side of the street, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, any other questions?
Right here.
Curious, are you adding on additional holding cells?
I would have to review the exact layout and the space needs for the police department. I believe we were maintaining the same amount of holding cells.
And out of curiosity, how many is that?
Right now, we have 18 cells. 4 are designated for females, 14 are designated for males. We do have 1 holding cell that's separate and 1 juvenile holding cell.
Okay. Last question. I know, thank you for your presentation. And I know that the NOSCO site in my ward off of Sheridan Road, you all were not recommending due to environmental issues. Am I correct?
Environmental issues and size. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. But are in this plan, just out of curiosity, is there still being considered to have a substation anywhere throughout the city?
If needed, we could maintain the records division, which has a commander and 3 officers and a sergeant assigned to them, and assigned inside the city hall. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions? Alderman Guzman?
One more question. All right, so the reason why I'm so hesitant about being on a main artery is because how about if there's an all call out? So that means all officers are out there and they have to come out there in a hurry. I mean, I see potential accidents here on a main artery. That's why I always favor for it to be on a side street, because the traffic is not there. What are you going to do if something happens at 5 o'clock or 9 in the morning when the traffic is congested?
So our vehicles are equipped with what's called an Opticon, which once our lights are activated, it flashes towards the traffic light and turns them to green for us so that we can make our entry onto the streets. Since Green Bay and Washington are four-lane roads, that would speed our ability to get to any call within the city because they are large roads. We would run into the same problem if we were on side streets, because we would still have to get onto the main arteries to get to where we're going the quickest way possible.
Thank you.
All right, is there,
Yes,
Alderman Donaldworth?
yes, yes, this appears to be a very good idea. I think with the land there and having extra land just in case we have to build out a little bit with stuff, and having the vehicles inside, like when I worked here, we had our vehicles outside. Sometimes they were damaged, and then in the wintertime, we would have to clear off the snow. And then also with the police department, 9 times out of 10, the policemen aren't all there. They're all on the road. So you'll go in for a lineup, and then you'll have people hit the road. So if you have a big emergency, you might have 2 or 3, maybe 4 people come out of the detective bureau or traffic or whatever, but 9 times out of 10, our police cars are on the street. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And then, yeah, that is a major road, but I like the changing of the signals, which is a very good idea, and have a couple different ways out. And I think it's going to be a really good location.
All right, is there any other questions? All right, I have a comment. I just want to say that I think it's a wonderful idea to have it. It is so centrally located, and there's a lot of wiggle room in there so you can build onto it. And that location is perfect. I'm sure we'll figure out all the kinks and all that, but in my opinion, that is probably the best place to have a police department. I just don't want to miss the opportunity, the owner to, I would put a little burden there, let them know that we are interested in it, because I don't know how you go about proposing to buy it, but they're letting him know that there is a potential, we might be able to buy it. So just to give him the interest that we are interested in buying it before he has to sell it to somebody else. I don't want it to be a missed opportunity. So that's all I have. All right, so thank you, sir. That was a great presentation. Very, very well done. And then next I want to talk about
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Low-speed vehicles.
Chair Martinez, we have Sergeant Rasmussen here to give us a presentation on that.
What's his name? All right.
I'm Alex Rasmussen
Yes.
with the Waukegan Police Department. So we're going to be talking about low-speed vehicles. There we are. First one that we're going to be talking about are electric bicycles. If we can advance the slide, please. So our low-speed electric bicycles work pretty much like any other bicycle. You don't need a license to drive it. You don't need it insured. However, there are 3 classifications of them, and they can go up to 28 miles per hour, depending on which classification it is. Next, please. So after this, then we have our gas-powered low-speed bicycles. So these are separated from like a motorcycle or something like that by the fact they're restricted to 20 miles per hour on the roadway. And you do have to be 16 years of age or older to ride these. But for the most part, again, they're allowed on the roadway. If we can go to the next one, please. Then we get up to our motor-driven cycles. At this point, you're going to need a motorcycle driver's license, L or M for your class. You're going to need to have it registered, titled. You're going to need to have it insured if it's being operated on the roadway. Next, please. And then we have our moped. So our moped is differentiated from the gas-powered in that you don't actually need a motorcycle driver's license to drive a moped, you just need a driver's license. After this, we get into our non-highway vehicles. So this is an entire category of vehicles. It's there under the section 1426.1. So you do need a driver's license, you do need insurance for this. They can be allowed on the roadway in limited areas, and that's only with express authorization. And even then, it's only on streets that have a speed of 35 miles an hour or slower. So, next, please. One of the things that comes up when we start talking about those is registration. And when we start talking about registration, and specifically out-of-state registration of these vehicles, it's important to understand that when we deal with out-of-state registration, we're relying on reciprocity. And reciprocity is determined by the Illinois Administrative Code. So basically, another jurisdiction has a plate, and we have a plate that gives like registration, so it gives similar or well, equal like a passenger plate and a passenger plate. So we will recognize their passenger plates in our state, and they will recognize our passenger plates in their state. Of course, if we don't have that plate, whatever that out-of-state plate is, then there's not that reciprocity. All right, go on to the next, please. Now, when we're talking about limited on-roadway use, so this is a section directly from 11-1426.1. You can clearly see that it says, it is unlawful for any person to drive or operate a non-highway vehicle upon any street, highway, or roadway in this state. And you can see that they do have that exception under subsection D, and where it can be authorized, but even then, it's restricted to areas where the speed limit is 35 miles an hour or less. So if we look at the next one, we'll see the subsection D. The important thing to note here is that an adoption of a resolution or an ordinance is required by the local body, and then signs need to be posted on the streets where they're allowed. Even then, if the roadway in question has multiple jurisdictions that have claim over it, all of those jurisdictions have to agree and also pass ordinances or resolutions and make sure that those signs are posted before those vehicles can go on that roadway. Next, please. But again, if you are driving one of these non-highway vehicles, you must have a driver's license. And in addition to this, if we look at the next one, you also need insurance. So, what are these vehicles? The first one of these vehicles is going to be an ATV. Now, the ATV, like I said, you are going to need that driver's license, you are going to need that insurance, and you're not going to be able to bring it on the roadway unless you're just crossing the roadway from trail to trail, unless it is expressly authorized, and even then, that 35-mile-an-hour limit. The vehicle in question would have to be 50 inches or less in width, have a dry weight of 1,500 pounds or less, and 3 or more non-highway tires, and has a seat or saddle for the driver to ride. And the next one from there is the recreational off-highway vehicle. So this is a vehicle that's 64 inches or less. If it's gas-powered, then it has a dry weight of 2,000 pounds or less. And if it's electrically powered, then it has a dry weight of 3,000 pounds or less. It has 4 or more non-highway tires, and it has a non-straddle seat for the driver to sit in. Again, if you're bringing this on the roadway and you're driving it, you're going to need to have a driver's license, you're going to need to have insurance, but it's only allowed when expressly authorized, as previously stated. After this, we have our off-highway motorcycles. So these are motorcycles that are specifically designed to be primarily used off of the roadway, and so their tires are non-highway tires. Again, driver's license required, insurance is required. Next, please. And then we have golf carts, and just as the name suggests, a golf cart is by statute a vehicle made for moving persons in golf clubs around. Again, if you're bringing this onto the roadway and driving down the roadway with this, it would only be allowed where there is an ordinance saying that it is allowed, and even then, has to be a roadway 35 miles per hour or less. You do need a driver's license, you do need insurance if you're driving on the roadway with this. But then we get into another question arises, which is when we're talking about towing vehicles, our authority to tow, or rather our authority to have fees associated with towing comes under 11-208.7. And then our actual authority to tow vehicles comes from a number of different statutes. One of these, for instance, is 11-1302C, which, as you can see, covers stolen vehicles, where the person in charge of the vehicle is unable to provide for its removal or custody, where the driver has been arrested, or where the registration is suspended, canceled, or revoked. But there are any number of statutes that have provisions for vehicles to be towed. And then within our city ordinance, we have a number of ordinances that cover towing as well. The most prominent one being 15-45.2, which covers our administrative seizures. And that is a brief overview of these vehicles. Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
All right, any questions? Alderman Florian?
Thank you, Chair. That was a great presentation. You obviously know this information very well, because you obviously weren't even reading it as you gave it to us. So thank you for putting this together. I would love to see us add something to our towing where we can yank these vehicles to get people's attention. I have problems in Beavier Park which is actually really in his ward, but I get calls about it. They're riding ATVs through there and ripping up the park. Now I realize that's really the park's jurisdiction, but I have 2 young ladies. I'm going to guess they're less than 10. I didn't see this on here, but those little mini motorcycles, do you know what I'm talking about?
If you're talking about like a mini bike, mini bikes would typically be classified under an highway motorcycle, but without seeing the individual bike, I couldn't tell you
They're
specifically.
really tiny. I mean, I don't even, and they're riding them on the sidewalk. How is that
Well,
covered?
no, you can't ride a motorized vehicle on the sidewalk like that.
Okay, because I didn't see that mentioned here, but, I mean, obviously, I don't want these girls arrested, but I can't believe their parents let them do it, to be honest. There's no helmet. They were zipping right across, from sidewalk to sidewalk as I was coming home the other night. It's crazy. I was in Grays Lake. I saw a guy on, what did you call it, the off-road motorcycle, doing a wheelie right down Main Street in Grays Lake. And he did have a light, but because he was doing a wheelie, his headlight was up and his taillight was down, so you could not see him. It was just as it was getting dark. It's just insane to me what you see some of these people doing on some of these vehicles. Obviously, we don't control Grays Lake, but I'm just giving examples of what's happening. So do you think it would help if we added something where when we catch them, we yank the,
I think that additional enforcement options are always one way of addressing things. Whether or not that is the way to go wouldn't necessarily be for me to say, but it would be a potential option.
what else do you think would help?
Off the top of my head, I think one of the first challenges is always getting people to stop. After that, making sure that we're knowledgeable on the laws regarding it and taking appropriate action. And again, expanding what that appropriate action can be can always be an option.
Thank you very much.
All right, any other questions? Alderman Felix?
Yes, in terms of, because, for example, on Genesee Street, I have business owners that are willing to give video of the people sometimes that are just flying by. Can that serve us? If they're willing to provide it to us and make a report, can we use that kind of information? Even like Ring cameras and whatnot?
So that type of information will always be helpful. We may not be able to identify the rider with that, but maybe we can catch a plate, maybe it doesn't have a plate, but at least we can begin to record every contact that, a camera may have with that vehicle, so that when we do catch up to this person, we have more than enough to try to impound it.
Are we looking into now more like enforcing and seeing if we can maybe get some of these people that are causing maybe a safety issue?
That's why we're putting this information together, so that all our officers have a clear understanding. As you see, there are many laws that cover different information regarding the classification of the vehicle that the person is riding, whether it's motorized or electric, and its weight, so that they're familiar and can administer the proper violations to them. So yes, we plan on enforcing them all.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
All right, Alderman Guzman?
You mentioned it a couple of times that the only way they can even be on our streets is with our ordinance. So what is our ordinance and how can we change it to enforce this and have basically more teeth into this? Because these things are all over the place and they're very wild.
Well, at present, I'm not familiar with any street that has been designated by ordinance as these being allowed on it. And I'm not familiar with any signs that have been posted on any of the streets that would allow them to be on it as it stands.
So every single person out there that's driving one of these things, you can actually just pull them over and take it? If the ordinance doesn't say it, we don't have it, so that means you can take it.
No, not necessarily. So it depends on if it's a motorized bike, whether it's gas or electric, and the speed capability that it has, along with any other motorized vehicle. But for the most part, we may be able to tow a majority of them.
Okay. Because, I see not only those little motorbikes, those dirt bikes and those golf carts, and they're all over the place. I even seen them downtown. Everywhere.
All right, Alderman Bolton?
Yes, I just want to give a shout out to our Sergeant, Alex.
Yes, ma'am.
Anytime I've called him, he has been on point. And I just want to acknowledge you openly. Thank you for the
Thank
work
you.
that you do.
Thank you. I appreciate it, ma'am.
And I understand your position is changing.
Yes, ma'am. I'm our training sergeant now.
Say it again.
I'm our training sergeant now.
Thank you.
All right, Alderman Bolton? Excuse
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. I think the first thing we need to do is make every resident aware that you cannot ride these vehicles on the city streets. You got to make them aware that they are not allowed in the parks. And then you make the step to confiscate them if need be. But I think they need to be warned. Some people just don't know that parents have bought them for their kids and things, and they don't know that they're not allowed in the city of Waukegan. So we need to put together something that lets every resident know that these types of vehicles are not allowed on the city streets, on parkways or whatever, sidewalks, in the parks. Make them aware and then let them know what the consequences are if they are caught on the streets. I know a lot of times you cannot catch them because they evade the police, so it's difficult to catch them in the act. But we need to, first of all, make sure that they are aware that they are not allowed according to the ordinances in the city of Waukegan.
Ma'am, I think that's a great idea, and we can do an informational campaign that we can get word out on what's allowed and what's not allowed, so people are aware of what the law and regulations and ordinances are, and then do enforcement.
All right, any other questions? Okay, Alderman Downsworth?
Thank you, Sergeant. You did a great job. Very impressed with what you did and your knowledge and going back and getting all this information for us. Because I know in my area, it's crazy over there. They're driving the ATVs and then also these little motorcycles too. It's unbelievable. Beaver Park is crazy over there too, and I've stopped some of them over there, and talked to the parents, and some of them say, well, they take them out. I said, well, that's going to be your responsibility when the police come and arrest them, because if we end up finding your house and we're able to identify who you are, we're going to call the police and they're going to take it from you. Basically correct? If you can say they were on the road and they were riding on the road.
A lot of that depends on which of those vehicles that I just covered it was.
Right.
Specifically, it's the non-highway vehicles. So
Right,
those last
yeah,
seven-
ATVs.
When we
ATVs.
started with the bicycles and things like that. But yes, it's one of those, if they don't have insurance, if they don't have their license,
Right, yeah, because I was talking about the ATVs. The ATVs are crazy over there. Actually, the last council meeting, I was on my way home, and there were 4 of the mini bikes riding right down Gulf Road, no headlights, and they went right by me. I barely saw them. I saw they just kept going. I mean, there wasn't anybody behind them, and there wasn't anybody out at that point in time, but they're just riding down the middle of the street, and that was on Gulf Road at night, so Gulf and Jackson. So, yeah, if we can catch these guys if they stop. And that's, the main thing, or find out where they live and then figure out what we can do. But again, thank you very much for your education.
thank you. And
All right,
thank
any
you
other
all.
questions? All right, I have one question. I just want to know, I have a situation in my ward where I have a couple juveniles, they're on their mini bikes, and they are juveniles. I want to know, what is the protocol when you actually, how do you guys take care of something like that? I mean, you get the parents involved? What is the protocol when you pull over juveniles?
Well, there is no one way to immediately address the problem. You could, if called as a call for service, I might respond as an officer, and if I'm able to stop them, identify them, find their parents, discuss it with their parents. Again, that's one way to go about things. Talking to people at ward meetings is another way to go about things. There's a lot of different ways to get the information across. But at the end of the day, it's about making sure that people are safe, and whichever way accomplishes that best.
Okay, thank you. Great presentation. I also want to piggyback what Alderman Bolton said. You've always been helpful. Any situation I have, you've always been very thorough and very helpful in this situation. I commend you for that. So great job.
Thank you. I greatly appreciate it, sir.
All right, next, information. There is no documents listed under information. So adjourn. I need a first and a second motion to adjourn.
First.
Second.
At 7:10. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
All right.
Thank you so much. Have a great night.